out. Like, that's so fun.
I'm gonna just try to do the damn fizzing, man. This shit keeps sliding though. Trying to really stay balanced here. Got it. This fucking phone's gonna fall.
Got it.
Tighten these skates up. Let me get a quick break on y'all, man. Yoicks. Yo. Give me a solid. Nah, you can leave him. I got it. Thank you.
Goes to show you the type of person she is. Like, she got no consideration. Not even for me and mom, but think about her boyfriend. You gonna have that man drive all the way to New York. Go pick up good.
I should note, this is my first time? This is probably my first time skating with the new lacings, right? So I did the let me roll in where I've jacked up my palms. Like, the thumbnail injury was kind of a first. I've had another thumbnail injury or fingernail injury. It might have been a thumb or maybe the index finger, where I was at Underground Skate Park and I've had a couple of like thumbnail and toenail injuries, or couple to be exact, where once I was at Underground Park and I remember going up the vert wall at Be Unique Underground Park, and I was so vertical that both my hands and my feet were on, like, basically on the wall, and I didn't realize, but I rolled over my finger, like, to the point where the finger instantly turned red. Everything under the nail turned red. Like, I think maybe a few hours, if not a day or so later, the nail, that red turned to black, and then the nail basically, I want to say it basically peeled right off, right? So that was that. I'm trying to figure out if we got a decent enough angle here. I'm not really too concerned because I want to just get the B-roll for the warm-up and get the thought process behind the trick, the and whatnot. So there was the underground thumbnail injury, but I remember wearing shadows, the original Solomon manufactured Dustin Latimer brown shadows that I got actually from Dave No, and that's when I realized as a size, I think back then I was still wearing a 9.5. I don't think I even was wearing shoes at a size 10 yet. But the shadows, I think, were like a size 7, 8 from Dave No. And I think at the point, Dave No, he basically was like, I think we did a trade or a deal, and I took his shadows, and so the cool thing I realized with his shadows is that the original shadow foot wraps as a size 9.5, let's say I was still squeezing it to 9.5, and let's say for argument's sake, maybe I was even a 10 and didn't even realize it, because I was wearing size 9.5 Solomons. I was able to wear Dave No's like small size shadows with the original foot wraps, because the foot wraps were designed in such a way that they were extremely sleek, stylish, ninja-ish, comfortable. And let's say if they were a size 7, 8, I was able to fit them comfortably as a size 9.5, 10. And I say comfortably, but not indefinitely, because I probably rode those for only a few weeks before I eventually retired them or gave them back or whatever. But the point being that those shadows put me onto a type of skating and a style that I always loved. And I realized I also did a lot of research and figured out that the best, not research, but I literally tried a lot of different shoes in the shadows, measured them and whatnot. And I realized the best shoes that fit inside of the shadow skate or the original shadow skate were Nike soccer shoes, particularly the El Gato soccer shoes, because of the super compact style of the sole, particularly the heel base in the rear of the shoes. Almost every shoe I picked up, even boots, they would fit inside the shadow, but they wouldn't fit the sole, the back of the sole. So if this is my foot, the back of the sole didn't fit. So when I discovered that, I was like, fuck that, I'm getting shadows again at some point. So eventually I started getting shadows. I might have had over the 20 years, last 20 years, I probably had 2 or 3 pairs of shadows. The first from Dave No, then maybe I bought my own. But I never went with the larger shell, because the larger shell to me is equivalent to going full retard with a giant doofy ass boot. Again, I'm a small, I was gonna say frail. I'm a small, stocky, I'm a small brolic little nigger, to be honest with you. I'm 5'4", and I wear 10.5, and I feel like I'm starting to move into the 11 zone with my feet after all these foot injuries, because I'm riding these Razor 10.5 Jeff Howard shifts. But all that aside, I found that those were the best shoes, the soccer shoes, and I found that the original shadow shoes, if they copy and replicate that design and made slight improvements, or even if they took the Nike El Gato soccer shoes, you would have a winning combination for the shadow product. The biggest downside to me for shadow shoes, obviously, and the concept of having a skate with a wearable shoe, is that if you skate all day or even a few hours and you sweat, and then you turn around and take them off, now your feet are sweating in those shoes for an excessive amount of time. Any athlete who knows athlete's foot, who have had fungus on their feet the way I used to have the worst fungus on my toes. I'm talking about fungus that was the funkiest, man. Like I had my uncle, one of my uncles, yelling at me one day because I think I was in his car or something, and I took my shoe off or whatever. Maybe I didn't even take my shoe off to show you how serious it was, but the funk was pungent, or whatever you want to call it. But he was tight, and we're not talking about Chester Cheetos, you know what I mean? But shout out Riff Raff on that one, man. So anyways, I say I'm talking about shadows as I'm strapping up and getting ready, but I don't know why that came to mind. I don't know why I even touched on that. Oh yeah, I don't know. Fucking, shit happens, right? I just like to go with the flow, man. Fuck it. I think I'm saying that because I want to switch. Like ideally, I want to. If I'm being truthful and honest, I ride whatever works for me, and I really don't. I do care about the politics, but at the end of the day, when it comes to my happiness and my safety, my enjoyment, I go with what works for me. Whatever you see me riding is whatever works for me at the time, and I will try shit out and push it. But last year I bought several pairs of skates, including the USD Carbons, the Pat Ritter them skates, And a lot of these boots, you have to understand, I had just come off of toe surgery on my right fifth toe. The fifth toe is the pinky toe. And because of that, and just like other issues in general, and after 20 years of wearing skates, I have learned to have a certain level of self-respect where I'm not gonna force a skate to feel comfortable. I'm not gonna spend a day going through pain, because the toe surgery I had was to correct a 20-year-old problem, meaning the very first pair of skates I got in 2002 were the Salomon STI Pros. And I rode those bitches with some synthetic socks that I paid a grip for in Models. When I say a grip, I'm talking, $20 socks, because they're supposed to look good, feel good, supposed to be the highest technology, materials, comfortable. But in reality, they were all synthetic. And a lot of these synthetic socks, like I'm trying to tell y'all, ain't worth a motherfucking penny. What you really want is cotton socks. Socks are supposed to absorb the sweat, and these synthetic socks got in between my toe, and me being a novice and a noob and a grom and not understanding skate culture, I thought that was just part of the pains of getting used to an aggressive skate, not realizing that Salomon's number one was one of the most comfortable skates. So I actually rode around with the sock in between my right fifth and fourth toes for hours, mind you, to the point where when I got home and finally took the skate and the sock off, imagine you take your shoe off and see the whole sock in between your toe. So I had a giant blister in between my toes. That subsequently created a very odd condition on top of the athlete's foot, and a fungus grew that started eating away at the flesh in between my toe. What then happened is that started developing into what they call a corn, but it was on the inside of the toe. And because of that corn, the pressure between the two toes rubbing then created a corn on the outside. So it just started snowballing into other issues. Long story short, I finally had it addressed in 2022, and I had toe surgery where they cut the toe open and actually shaved the bone down in all of the right areas. I had a small procedure prior where they said they shaved it down and they did some work, but it really didn't. It might have been in part due to my insurance and the shitty doctors I had, but they really didn't correct the problem. And I explained that to my podiatrist last year, like, yo, I've been dealing with this 20 years, and a couple years ago they tried to fix it, yada, yada, yada. This podiatrist was like, so then here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna cut it open. And he was so matter-of-factly. He was he's of some sort of Middle Eastern Arabic descent. I forget exactly where he was from, but he's based in Astoria, and he did phenomenal work. Same guy that helped me with a lot of my recent foot injuries and surgeries. Same guy that also gotta make sure this shit recording. Same guy that also put that purple 3M, what is it called? It's a 3M that it's like a 3M cast material. It's basically, I forget what it's called, but it's essentially all of these soft boot, carbon boot technologies. It's essentially that same sort of composite. All you do literally is wrap it like a cast and wet it. Or I should say you wet it first and then wrap it, and then it hardens. So think of it, if you're designing a skate or some, cosplay, or so you're trying to build some cool creative shit, you buy this cheap, inexpensive motherfucking thing, wet it, wrap it, and now you got a mold of something that you want to create, or even as a sample or a model, right? Just to get the ball rolling. But anyways, we're putting these bitches on. I did a bunch of rub testing, and it feels like it's gonna slide fairly good. I'm a little tired, but I got juice, and this is a weird, interesting spot. I don't really want to damage the bushes and the landscaping. I actually find it very beautiful and aesthetically pleasing. So if I start from the beginning where it's dark, part of me feels like I risk damaging it. So I'm actually I'm thinking the safest trick right now is probably a top ass. It's something that I can get on and just do the trick. Because I realize, I don't know if you guys can see the angle of like the boot, of like how the boot sits on here, right? But the way the boot sits on here is that it's very easy to miss. And then because I waxed it, I slip in, So I'm just trying to find the balancing point to make sure this shit goes correct. But and right now the phone is on some really awkward balancing point. The phone is actually on this angle right here. So the phone is sitting right on this, and it has a chance of slipping and falling. So I'm gonna just hit pause on this for you guys, and I'm gonna try to do it again. And they're locking up the gate right now as we speak. This is what we're looking at. I might put the flash on so we can get a better angle. But that's what it is. That's what it do. Yeah, that I mean. All right. So I just spent the last 10 minutes trying to undo these wax lacings because I had them knotted too tight. And then I quickly realized that I started talking about shadow skates and nail injuries. And I basically, like, as I'm doing like, I'm stressed out trying to undo these laces. I'm fucking up my fingernails. But the bottom line is I realized something about myself, which is my ADD is fucking severe. Now, you can think of it as a negative or you can look at it the positive, right? So if you're just thinking negative, it means that I have a very difficult time staying focused on the subject or the topic at hand. But what I realize is because nothing in this world is truly one-sided when you think of perspective. So when I speak and I shoot these videos, it's to give y'all my story so you understand my perspective. Because I can say, yo, these are the best wheels. You got to get these wheels. But you won't consider that if you didn't know that I roll, you know, in hot climate. You know what I mean? Like, you just got to understand what I've been through. So I think I was filming, trying to just tell y'all, I don't know, just that I'm at the spot getting ready to skate this ledge, you know, this shit right here. And then I digressed because I realized my nail might have been in the shot. And then I was talking about nail injuries, which to me, it's a lifestyle thing that I think people don't realize. Like, you know, like, you might get into skateboarding, you might get into aggressive skating. And I like to understand it and study it because it's still a relatively new sport and industry, right? And it's a sport that only exists because we have concrete. And a lot of third world countries and developing nations don't have properly paved roads and architecture and a lot of money, you know, so we can touch on capitalism and all these other things as well, right? But I think I was digressing from that because I had I was talking about the different skates I had tried earlier this year, and then I think I had reached out to them skates because I really fucking love that base stem edit. I love everything about it. It you know, 20 years later from my history, and there's a lot that I want to say and comment on. I just haven't put all the thoughts together, so I haven't been forcing it. But I was digressing as I started filming from skating to the thumbnail injury. And I think it's important that people know what type of injuries you can encounter because then you can properly design and market it, right? So we are still on capitalism, but I think because health and wellness is so important, I think it's important that inline skating, aggressive inline roller skating separate itself from skateboarding so that we have our own culture, our own identity. And I don't mean just the trick names, I mean the products, right? So they have shoes and whatnot, but my big thing is injury prevention, physical therapy, and the products that make the sport cool, that make the industry cool, that make it more marketable. You know, we can copy a Jordan skate and sell that, but I think it's more important to produce products and things that speak to the culture, because I feel like there's very little culture, right? And when I say culture, I mean a culture that's unified across all levels, right? So when someone sees it, they go, like, so for example, as aggressive inline skaters, one of our biggest injuries are on the hands, the palms, not so much anywhere else, because we take a lot of the blunt force and trauma by falling on our hands. So we might not ever need helmets. Skateboarders on the other side, yes, they do fall on their hands and wrists a lot. But let me ask you this: how often have you seen skateboarders wearing wrist protection? Very rarely. Why? Because their feet are not attached to their board. So when a skateboarder falls or tumbles off their board, they have their feet to catch them before their hands, right? So think about that. When your feet are available and you're already a ninja, you're not even going to use your hands. Your feet are already breaking your fall. So because of that, I think it's very important that we design products. And then again, it's not really a cool thing to have wrist guards. It's not a cool thing to have helmets. So it's like, how do we make it cool? How do we design it so that it's accepted, so that it's popular? And it's not, for me, it's not about money. It's about consistency for longevity. How do we make things so that people go, I want to do that? But if we, as the leaders of the community and the industry, don't even participate in it and don't skate often to know what is needed and what's necessary, and we're only trying to push new product, then we're failing. The fact that I just figured out that rollerblade lightning buckle receptors and old Roshi receptors from 30 years ago function better than products now, it tells me something huge. The fact that I just spent another 10 minutes trying to lace up my wax lacings and then trying to undo them was even more of a nightmare. It tells me that something is wrong within the industry. And you can point the finger at capitalism But I think the bigger picture is, how do we unify that level of capitalism? How do we, right? So like so you can look at something like as simple as USB 2.0, 3.0, how the iPhone has, this fast charging connection or whatever they call it. Solomon to me has perfected the quick lace system. I don't give a fuck about patents and whatnot. We have standardized the UFS. Why can't we take what Solomon has designed and implement it across the board? I understand everyone has their own ideas on design and whatnot, but if it works, it works. Like, don't reinvent the wheel. Stop trying to make a buck off of something, because what you do is you create a system where a skater might get into the sport and maybe they get fed up because, so maybe they get fed up because their lacings break and they're like, yo, this keeps falling apart, this keeps damaging, and they're like, fuck this community. There's no real community. There's no one that's really taking charge and leading the way for future generations to get involved and say, this is the standard, this is what we follow, this is what I want to do. There's, as a parent, I don't think I would ever want my kid in the community of aggressive inline roller skating, because everything to me fucking sucks. The quality of the products, the thought that goes into it, the marketing, if there is any, it fucking sucks, right? On that same note, right, we talk about the Solomon quick lace system. UFS exists, right? I forget where I was going, but I think that's really the core issue that I have, right? So skateboards, when you look at skateboards, are they not a standard, right? They have different sizes, but as far as the plies, I mean, they do come out with new products here and there, but they're not trying to. I feel like aggressive inline roller skating, or rollerblading, or whatever you want to call it, for lack of a proper identity. Once again, lack of a proper term or identity. Freestyle rolling, freestyle roller sports. When you look at Europe, they usually refer to it as freestyle rolling or freestyle inline, right? Not to say that we got to call it that, but I think if you just look at it mathematically, scientifically, intrinsically, it's fucking roller skating. So it should be roller skating, and then you add the aggressive to it. When you start going into that sort of theory of marketing and how things should be called, by default, if you want to be politically correct, skateboarding should be considered, the skateboarding that the world knows as skateboarding is really aggressive skateboarding. But then, is it aggressive? So then maybe that becomes freestyle skateboarding, the same way how you have freestyle BMX, you have flatline BMX. And then when you look at BMX, even BMX stands for bicycle motocross. There's no fucking motor on a BMX. So even that is fucking retarded, but it stands as the standard. It has stood the test of time. All I'm saying is, I think we need better leaders. We need better, we need just better community, and community is communication. And people who are willing to say, fuck the money and let's make this good, because once everything is good, the money will come. You know what I mean? When you create things that are long lasting, it will come. So I touch on the USB stuff, and I touch on like the Apple and the iPhone charging ports and the AirPods and all that, to say that those things only help to serve the goal of one brand and one business. But because our community lacks an identity, I feel like we will never grow as a community if each brand and each company is constantly trying to stand on their own as the one that has done this and the one. I mean, the fact that Solomon is not involved in the industry, and now K2 is not involved in the aggressive industry, tells me volumes about the community. Volumes. Yes, we're still young and we're still relatively immature. We're 30 years, 40 years in the making. Skateboarding's got 40, 50 years, but we got to grow the fuck up as a community, right? And that means studying the math, the science. I was doing a lot of research, and I reached out to a physician's assistant, Timothy Ramos, who was a former EMT, who is also an aggressive inline roller skater. He sent me some links to statistics on, the health industry with regards to sports injuries. And I asked him for inline skate injuries, right? But guess what? We don't have a fucking identity. Even to this day, when you go places, people still call us skateboarders. You still see signs that say no skateboarding. The Immigration Building, 26 Federal Plaza at Foley Square, downtown Manhattan on Broadway, has a giant sign that says no skateboarding and other, whatever activities. Until we get our own identity, we will not be recognized in any realm of the world. Health, politics, religion, you name it. And we need to start setting a standard and set the trend for self-respect, to say we're going to step up and create that standard. Like I said, wrist injuries are I've noticed wrist injuries are one of the most common injuries in our sports. Shin injuries as well. tailbone injuries are huge in our industry. I'm not sure what else, but these are things that matter. When I go to the you know how many papers you know how many times I go to the ER, urgent care, etc. And when I come out, even though I tell them it was a rollerblading injury, their report still says skateboarding injury. Like, that is fucking up our chances when we, like, if I have to go to Congress or Senate, or I have to go and lobby for aggressive inline roller skating, or even roller skating, and say, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm looking at, they're going to ask me for the statistics, the numbers, the facts, the proof. And if we don't have the proof, that proof is in the pudding. If we don't have the proof, and if we keep coming up under the radar, and we keep showing up at in society and in all aspects of life as skateboarding, we will never have our own identity. We will never grow. Fuck if you do a big event. Fuck if you create something called Dipskate. Fuck if you make some dope ass shit that the whole world loves. It's fickle and temporary, and it's gonna crumble. I guarantee it. So on that note, I'm gonna just try to do a quick top acid, man, because I'm fucking tight with these lacings, and I really want to support people who support the industry and believe in the industry and are not just after a buck. People that are willing to go, yo, Ado, we love what you're saying, we love what you're trying to do. What do you need to make this a reality? And it's just time, and that time is valuable. If you're gonna pay me for my time, it means I gotta sit down and do the legwork. I gotta send emails. I gotta make phone calls. I gotta start collecting the data and processing the data and lobbying and going to AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and getting these people involved so we can actually make tangible changes, not temporary, fickle, superficial, egotistical changes because the shit look cool. Fuck if it look cool, man. We need to make this shit cool to the core so you can't deny it. You know what I mean? And the numbers will speak volumes once we put the pen to the paper and the pedal to the metal. Feel me? I don't even know. Yo, I really don't even know what this shit look like. I hope this shit work. I hope this shit don't fall on me last minute. Let's go for it real quick. Alright, quick update. So my first like 2 attempts just rolling up, I realized it's dark. I can't really see where I'm going. I don't think I've ever jumped on anything like this. And it's a small room and margin of error. So I was going with top acid and I'm like missing completely, can't even see. And I was trying higher. So I said, let me try lower, and lower is where it's much darker. So then I switched to topsoil and I finally locked the topsoil and it slid like a motherfucker. But on the topsoil, it's one of these things where if I don't have the enough weight and pressure on my foot and don't stay balanced, I'm gonna slip off very quickly, very easily. Like, no bullshit. It's one of these, like, obviously if this wasn't here, I think I'd have a little more confidence. But I think the biggest issue too is light. So I feel like this is a spot I'd probably love to come back during the day. But again, if I had a better, proper skate on my foot right now that was designed for my size feet with my small stature, where it was like minimalist, almost like a Merrell shoe, I probably, these types of things I get first try. And it maybe this fucking knee thing here is fucking me up too, because a lot of my like knee injuries, I wear knee braces, and I find a lot of times when I'm jumping and getting ready to balance, I can deal with the pain because it's either I deal with the pain or I risk getting further injury because I'm not jumping as high or being I'm not in full control of my body and and the responses of the motion. So I'm taking this little jammy jam, this Futuro, this 3M product, mind you, right? So I'm switching from the top acid and just going topsoil and seeing if I can just do the damn thing. It's actually quite comforting when you fall. The shrubs are like pads. I'm sure there's going to be points where it's sharp and it's needle-like, but it looks like they cut it maybe a couple of weeks ago, so the point where it grew back out. But if they had just cut it, it would be a little sharp and brittle and dangerous. But right now, when the way it is that I bump into it and it actually like gently pushes me back. It almost feels like somebody going, yo, son, yo, go over there. But it's gentle and comfortable. This is, to me, everything's a learning curve. Again, first time skating the spot. I keep making this mistake when I skate new spots. That shit I did on Park Avenue, I made the same mistake where I'm looking at, this is the spot, and I'm looking at it from an angle way over here and approaching it and then curving. I always try to tell people, and I'm telling myself this now, come at it straight. As soon as I switched my angle, I locked the topsoil first try, which means I could probably lock the top acid first try, and it slides fucking amazing. It's a weird feeling, but to me, that's what you skate for. You can grind a 1 to, let's say, 3-inch pipe PVC steel. You're gonna get one type of feeling from it. You can grind an angle iron steel. You can grind a sharp 90-degree marble edge. You're gonna get a certain type of feeling and energy out of that grind. It's totally different when it's stone and it's this. What looks like it's a 270-degree angle. Let me see. All right, that's 180, and 180 is 360. So that's, I don't know what the fuck this angle is. Anyways, it's probably 60, right? So if 90 is like, if 90 would have been this is like that. So it's less than 90 there. So let's say it's like 60 and 60. So that's 6 and 6 is what? I'm fucking bugging out. 120? Maybe this is, yeah, why did I say 180? 180 is flat. I said 270? I don't know what angle this is. My mind is not there right now, but I just figured out how to stay on the ledge, and that's to come straight at it. And when I come straight at it, I could actually see it. I'm not going fast enough. Yeah, this is a lot of fucking fun once you get on. Key is to come straight at it so you can see it. And it's lit up enough at night that you can see it once you come straight at it. If you come at an angle, you're not gonna see it. And it's the type of ledge, all you gotta do is put your weight right on it and it locks you in. And don't move, it'll hold you. I'm not sure how the top ass is gonna feel, to be honest with you. I feel like I might slow myself down because there's little cracks where that front foot and my wheels, so right now my wheels are slipping because of all the wax. But I'm gonna just go topsoil and try to just get one topsoil. I might stop trying to go from the top and just come, like not the top, but I might just try to keep it short and sweet just so I make it over this fucking fence and this planter and everything. Fuck. Dust in my fucking vape. I'm gonna have to redo that shit. feel like fish ray might be safer, man. I just fucking ripped my ass open. Let's try to get this. All right, so that was my first attempt at a top acid. Missed a little bit. Fortunately, I nicked the top of the shin, but very briefly on the way down. But the big issue is that my skate hit the stump of the tree root, the tree stump, and then I backed out. So I'm gonna stick with the top sole. I'm not gonna do no fish brains. It's dark. It's not a. Again, I ain't no spring chicken, man. So I'm gonna stick with the top sole since it's working. Put this here. Push that back. We're gonna try this again. Oh my God. I just need one. All I need is one. All right, since I feel like I got at least a decent one or two angles from that perspective, and it's all about the motherfucking money. It's all about the motherfucking money. Shout out that nigga Troy Ave. We're talking Irving Plaza on the bag. Anyways, since it's all about the motherfucking money shot, we're gonna go from this angle because I feel like I got enough meat coming up to it. And we're gonna go, maybe I jump on over here, dust this shit off. All right, this is where the camera was. And just so y'all see, the camera was balancing on this bitch, like so, right? With the weight of the camera staying, so it's very easy to slip. And there's a little tiny hole or indentation that this piece was like balancing on just to hold this shit. So I think part of my fear too is that I'm coming to the camera and I don't want to kick the camera over and super break it. So we're gonna switch the angle. Let me get the shoe game going. This is that DIY life. This concept of skate life is DIY life, man. Home Depot, man. You know how they say? So we're gonna do, where am I jumping on? I feel like I'm jumping on over here. I feel like I'm jumping on around here. Oh yeah, you can see the green. Oh shit. Look at all the green. So I'm really, damn, there's a lot of green. Can you see the green? So this is the ledge. This is that type of stone ledge. This is like ancient stone Freemasonry mason work, right? So I'm gonna stop jumping on so early, since I'm sliding, but I'm not sliding super. I'm not like, I don't know, I'm just not confident on it. And I just want the motherfucking money clip, bro. Bro, girl, whatever you call yourself. So I'm gonna try to find a different angle. Sweating balls out here, sweating like a slave. This shit feels mad dope. You have no idea how many years I've been looking at this and talking about it. But talking about it is one thing, being about it is another. And when you try to get other people who really ain't about that life to join you, you quickly realize that you're on your own. I wish I had realized this 20 years ago. But nah, I don't regret it, because 20 years ago I probably wouldn't have had the balls. Now, what the fuck am I saying? I would have fish brained this shit 10 years ago. You know, I probably just wasn't focused, you know, that ADD. Trying to get that angle right. I'm gonna take a quick pause, let this shit rest a little bit. All right, let me see what we got in focus here. Shit. Alright, I'm trying to jump at a spot that's a little high for me. And it's not that it's high, but I feel like the jumping and the effort of jumping to this point, we're talking, this point is at or about waist height and I'm on skates. So it's a little high and I feel like the effort of jumping that high might throw me off. Fuck. Yeah, bitch, man. It's not that high. Fuck it, let me just go for it. We'll see. Alright, I could do that. That's pretty cool actually, but I'm gonna bring it back because it's a little high for me. I'll bring it back just a tad. Word to Chad from the Neptunes was a fad. Bring it back just a tad. Right here might be better for me. You get the bag, the shoes, the weight, the pressure, the Balenciaga, so this thing don't slide and slip. All that's the debris from the whatchamacallit. Yeah, that's a little better. I could jump on right there. That's perfect. Shit, did I knock this thing down with the wind, with the momentum? Fuck. That means I gotta back it up a little bit. Trying to get some of this shit in focus, man. I don't even know where I can go. That shit in the shoe. You gotta teleport. Don't ask me monkey ass questions, bro. And you smiling. I'm not smiling.
No, I got you.
Alright, be safe, be safe. Be safe, be safe, nigga. Be safe. back at it. Oh, I see what happened. I hit the tree and the tree bounces back. All right. We gotta figure this out then. Phone. Oh my God. It's really starting to piss me off, man. Just gotta stay on it. That was it. Stay compact, stay on it. The entire phone. That ain't no good. I'm gonna take a quick break, man. shit somewhere I can see it. So niggas don't try to G it. It's just a lot of fun. Slowing down and I'm moving all the leaves as I'm moving through it. So maybe I should start. If I'm hitting these leaves, that means I gotta break this fucking branch. Fucking angle's way off. still got a decent angle. Fucking up. All right, no bullshit. It's really not that hard. It's just can't really see it. I'm still getting used to it, and this is probably the first time ever anybody's fucking skated this shit. So fuck what you heard. If they don't got the new wave skate $$ rollerblade architect seal of approval, it probably ain't shit, and they probably capping as a motherfucker. That includes my mom Dukes, my brother, and anybody that I allegedly was close to. Fuck what you heard. Fuck with a nigga that fuck with shit for real. Peace, love, and blessings. And if it ain't about that, it's murder, death, kill, homicide. Voila.